Why were the prophets sent? All Abrahamic religions, such as Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, come through prophets. As believers, our religions and lives are shaped by these prophets. We take it for granted to believe and follow them, but naturally, some questions always arise regarding the need and nature of the prophets. For instance, why did God send prophets? Couldn't human beings use their reason, conscience, and other signs to learn about God instead of relying on prophets? Or couldn't God send revelation to every human being instead? First of all, who are the prophets and what do they do? The prophets are intermediaries who receive and transmit messages from God in the absence of direct divine communication. Prophets' role is thus crucial to understand God's will and intentions, which may not be completely understood merely by relying on human reasoning. Through prophethood, God's messages are embodied in a human form accessible to all humans. Furthermore, humans often fail to control the moral aspects of their behaviors. At times of moral crisis, God sends prophets to guide people in demonstrating righteous living and hence act as a moral compass for them. Note that even though humans may be able to find the existence of God through pure reason, they still need prophets to learn how to live according to God's will by taking prophets as their role models. Obviously, God could have chosen to send revelation to each person directly. However, this can be overwhelming for an average person to handle. In addition, in that case, there will not be an opportunity for humans to exercise their free will and evolve through attaining and building knowledge. According to the Quran, Allah sent many prophets throughout history as mentioned in this verse, and certainly we sent to every nation a messenger, saying, "Worship Allah and avoid false gods," 16:36. The Quran mentions the names of 25 prophets, some of which are considered as major prophets: Noah, Abraham, Moses, Jesus, and Muhammad, peace be upon them. But how does God choose the prophets? And how can one reconcile human free will and agency with the concept of pre-selection of prophets? While we may not know exactly how God selects the prophets, we can say that the selected prophets possess unique qualities, experiences, or personalities that equip or prepare them for the challenges of the prophetic role. God gives them certain traits to successfully fulfill their mission, such as persistence, courage, leadership, persuasion, patience, and wisdom. For example, Noah, peace be upon him, had the persistence in calling his people to God, even though very few accepted his message. Abraham, peace be upon him, had the courage to single-handedly confront his entire community regarding their false beliefs, while he was still very young. Moses, peace be upon him, had the leadership skills to direct the fleeing of his people from the most oppressive tyrant of his time, Pharaoh. Jesus, peace be upon him, had the most patience in enduring the hardships and persecution imposed upon him by his people. And Muhammad, peace be upon him, had the wisdom and trustworthiness to unite the many rival tribes of Arabia, who had a long history of conflict, into a peaceful community. It is important to note that for Muslims, prophets are not divine, and they are also subject to tests and tribulations that require them to exercise their free will and take appropriate actions. There is an agreement among most Muslim scholars that prophets cannot commit major sins. There are, however, debates about whether they can commit minor sins. In the Quran, there are many examples of prophets seeking forgiveness from God for their mistakes. In this way, they can be a perfect role model for humans who experiences ups and downs in their lives. According to Islam, Muhammad, peace be upon him, is the last prophet, indeed, seal of the prophets, per Quran 33:40. And God will not send any new prophets or religions. This is because of two reasons. First, by the time of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, humans have achieved a certain level of rational and societal maturity for building knowledge. And second, God's message has been preserved in writing in the form of the Quran. So there is no need for new revelations. Muslim scholars held the view that an adequate understanding of divine guidance can be done collectively by assessing the Quran without a need for a new chosen individual. Prophethood is a fundamental concept that not only introduces God to humans, but also helps us recognize the purpose of why we are here and how we should live our lives.